Question 1. An insurance producer in Montana knowingly promises a customer that purchasing a particular policy will guarantee coverage for all possible future risks, even though the policy explicitly excludes certain events. Which of the following best describes this behavior? A. Ethical conduct, as long as the producer explains all policy details at purchase. B. Misrepresentation, which is an unfair trade practice prohibited under Montana law. C. A sales tactic allowed if the producer later clarifies the exclusions. D. Permissible, provided the policy contains a disclaimer about exclusions. Correct answer. B. Misrepresentation, which is an unfair trade practice prohibited under Montana law. Explanation. This is considered misrepresentation under Montana's Unfair Trade Practices Act. Misrepresentation occurs when an insurance representative provides false, misleading, or exaggerated information to induce someone to buy a policy. Montana law views such conduct as an unfair trade practice as it compromises the customer's ability to make informed decisions. Even if clarifications are later made, initial misleading promises violate both ethical and legal standards in the insurance industry. Insurers and agents are legally required to represent policy terms accurately to ensure transparency and protect consumer interests. Question 2. Which of the following statements about risk management techniques in insurance is most accurate? A. Risk retention is suitable only when the risk of loss is extremely low and unlikely. B. Risk avoidance is an impractical approach for any risks that are inherently part of normal life. C. Risk transfer allows insurers to fully eliminate risk on behalf of the insured party. D. Risk reduction can involve both physical changes and behavioral modifications to lower risk. Correct answer. D. Risk reduction can involve both physical changes and behavioral modifications to lower risk. Explanation. In insurance, risk reduction refers to any action taken to decrease the frequency or severity of potential losses. It can involve both physical adjustments like installing safety equipment and behavioral changes such as adhering to safety protocols. Option D is correct because risk reduction does not eliminate risk but makes it more manageable. Risk transfer, on the other hand, involves shifting the financial consequences of a risk to another party, typically an insurer, while risk retention is when a party decides to bear the risk themselves, often for low-impact situations. Risk avoidance may be impractical when eliminating exposure to certain risks like everyday transportation is unrealistic. Question 3. Mr. Thompson, a building owner in Montana, has a commercial property policy with a 90% coinsurance clause. His building is insured for $500,000, but the property's replacement cost is $750,000. If Mr. Thompson incurs a covered loss of $100,000, how much will the insurer pay, assuming he does not meet the coinsurance requirement? A. $60,000. B. $67,500. C. $75,000. D. $90,000. Correct answer. B. $67,500. Explanation. Coinsurance clauses in property policies require the insured to carry coverage that meets or exceeds a certain percentage, in this case 90% of the property's replacement cost. Here, the required insurance amount is $750,000 x 0.9 equals $675,000. Since Mr. Thompson only insured the property for $500,000, he falls short of the coinsurance requirement. The insurer's payout will be based on the proportion of coverage Mr. Thompson actually has compared to the required amount. Question 4. Under Montana law, when is an insurance company permitted to cancel a homeowner's insurance policy after it has been in effect for more than 60 days? A. If the insurer determines the property's replacement cost has increased. B. If the insured has filed a single claim within the policy term. C. Only for reasons specified in the policy, such as non-payment or material misrepresentation. D. If the property's insured value exceeds $500,000. Correct answer. C. Only for reasons specified in the policy, such as non-payment or material misrepresentation. Explanation. Montana law restricts insurers from canceling a homeowner's insurance policy after it has been in effect for 60 days unless specific conditions are met, such as non-payment of premium, material misrepresentation, or substantial change in the risk insured. This regulation is meant to protect policyholders from unexpected cancellations, ensuring they are not left without coverage unless a legitimate policy-defined reason exists. Increases in property value or single claim filings are not permissible grounds for cancellation under these provisions. Question 5. Which of the following describes the key difference between actual cash value and replacement cost in property insurance policies? A. ACV reimburses for new items, while replacement cost factors in depreciation of the property. B. ACV considers depreciation and age, while replacement cost reimburses the amount needed to replace the item as new. C. Replacement cost includes labor costs, while ACV applies only to materials. D. Replacement cost reimburses only a portion of the loss, while ACV covers the full value. Correct answer. B. ACV considers depreciation and age, while replacement cost reimburses the amount needed to replace the item as new. Explanation. Actual cash value, ACV, reflects the value of the property at the time of the loss, factoring in depreciation based on the property's age and condition. Replacement cost provides reimbursement to replace the property at current prices without depreciation. ACV is generally lower due to the deduction for depreciation, whereas replacement cost allows for more complete recovery by covering the expense of purchasing new materials or items of similar kind and quality, regardless of the property's age or prior wear. Question 6. Mr. Riley, who runs a small contracting business in Montana, has a commercial general liability (CGL) policy with separate per occurrence and aggregate limits. During the policy period, he faces two liability claims, the first with damages totaling $200,000 and the second with damages of $300,000. If his per occurrence limit is $250,000 and his aggregate limit is $500,000, how much will the CGL policy pay for these claims? A. $450,000. B. $250,000. C. $500,000. D. $300,000. Correct answer. A. $450,000. Explanation. In a commercial general liability (CGL) policy, the per occurrence limit restricts the amount the insurer will pay for any single claim or incident, while the aggregate limit is the maximum payout across all claims within the policy period. For Mr. Riley's first claim, the insurer will pay the full amount of $200,000 as it is under the per occurrence limit of $250,000. For the second claim, only $250,000 will be paid, as that is the maximum per occurrence limit, despite the total claim being $300,000. Together, these payouts total $450,000, and he has $50,000 remaining under his aggregate limit for future claims. Question 7. An insured in Montana has a personal auto policy that includes underinsured motorist coverage with a limit of $100,000. The insured is in an accident with an at-fault driver whose liability coverage is capped at $50,000. The insured incurs medical costs totaling $120,000. How much will the underinsured motorist coverage pay? A. $100,000. B. $50,000. C. $70,000. D. $120,000. Correct answer. B. $50,000. Explanation. Underinsured motorist coverage, UM, is designed to cover the difference between the at-fault driver's liability coverage and the insured's actual losses up to the UIM limit. In this case, the at-fault driver's policy pays $50,000, which leaves $70,000 unpaid. However, the insured's UIM limit is $100,000, so the insurer will cover the remaining $50,000. This amount exhausts the insured's potential recovery under UIM but does not cover the full medical costs as the remaining loss exceeds the policy limits. Question 8. Which of the following is an example of vicarious liability in a business context? A. An employee slips and falls at their workstation due to wet flooring. B. A business owner intentionally causes damage to another party's property. C. A company is held liable for damages caused by an employee driving a company vehicle on work-related errands. D. A customer injures themselves on the property due to their own negligence. Correct answer. C. A company is held liable for damages caused by an employee driving a company vehicle on work-related errands. Explanation. Vicarious liability occurs when one party is held legally responsible for the actions of another, often in employer-employee relationships. In this case, the company, employer, is liable for the actions of its employee, who caused damage while carrying out work-related duties. The other options do not fit the definition of vicarious liability, as they involve either the business owner's direct actions or situations where liability does not transfer to the employer. Montana law generally supports vicarious liability in situations where an employee's actions are within the scope of employment. Question 9. In Montana, which of the following statements best describes the purpose of subrogation in property insurance policies? A. It allows the insurer to recover funds from a reinsurer after a large loss. B. It permits the insurer to assume the insured's rights to pursue recovery from a third party after a claim is paid. C. It allows the insured to collect from multiple policies for the same loss. D. It limits the insured's ability to file a lawsuit against the insurer. Correct answer. B. It permits the insurer to assume the insured's rights to pursue recovery from a third party after a claim is paid. Explanation. Subrogation is a provision in property insurance policies that allows the insurer to pursue recovery from a responsible third party after compensating the insured for a covered loss. This right helps insurers recoup the funds they paid out, reducing overall claim costs and keeping premiums lower for policyholders. It prevents the insured from profiting twice from the same loss and ensures that the responsible party bears the financial responsibility. Options A, C, and D do not accurately describe the purpose of subrogation. Question 10. If a Montana resident wants to dispute the settlement amount offered by their insurance company under a property damage claim, which of the following is a common method to resolve this dispute? A. Filing a formal complaint with the Montana Department of Justice. B. Entering into an appraisal process where both parties select appraisers. C. Requesting arbitration directly through the insurance company's agent. D. Filing a claim with the small claims court for a judgment. Correct answer. B. Entering into an appraisal process where both parties select appraisers. Explanation. In Montana, the appraisal process is often included in property insurance policies as a way to resolve disputes over the amount of a claim. During an appraisal, both the insured and the insurer select their own appraisers, and an umpire may be used if the appraisers cannot agree. This method is efficient for determining the value of damages without involving lengthy litigation. While other options may be available, such as filing a complaint or seeking arbitration, the appraisal process is the standard approach when disputing the value of a property damage claim under typical policy provisions. Question 11. In Montana, a commercial building insured under a standard policy incurs damage due to a fire. If the insured failed to comply with the policy's coinsurance clause by underinsuring the property, how will this affect the claim? A. The insurer will deny the entire claim due to the policy violation. B. The insurer will pay a reduced amount based on the coinsurance percentage met. C. The insurer will only pay up to 50% of the loss amount. D. The insured will have to reapply for coverage before the claim can be processed. Correct answer. B. The insurer will pay a reduced amount based on the coinsurance percentage met. Explanation. The coinsurance clause requires the insured to carry a certain percentage of the property's value as coverage, usually 80% or more. If this requirement isn't met, the insurer will reduce the claim payout according to the ratio of actual coverage carried to the required amount. This encourages policyholders to maintain sufficient coverage and ensures they share in the risk if they choose to underinsure. Question 12. Which of the following actions would be considered an unfair trade practice under Montana law? A. Denying coverage for a loss not outlined in the policy. B. Failing to acknowledge and act on a policyholder's claim within a reasonable time. C. Offering additional discounts to a long-term policyholder. D. Adjusting the premium rate based on the policyholder's recent claims history. Correct answer. B. Failing to acknowledge and act on a policyholder's claim within a reasonable time. Explanation. Under Montana law, failing to respond to or address claims in a timely manner is classified as an unfair trade practice, which can subject insurers to penalties. Prompt communication and processing of claims are key components of ethical insurance practices. Options A, C, and D are generally acceptable practices under standard policy conditions and state regulations. Question 13. Mr. Davis, a homeowner in Montana, has a homeowner's policy that includes liability coverage. While hosting a party, one of his guests slips on an icy driveway and sustains injuries. Under Mr. Davis's policy, which coverage applies to this situation? The coverage for personal property damage. B. Liability coverage, as it protects against bodily injury claims. C. Medical payments coverage for property damages. D. Dwelling coverage, as the injury occurred on the property. Correct answer: B. Liability coverage, as it protects against bodily injury claims. Explanation: liability coverage in a homeowner's policy is designed to protect the insured against legal responsibility for injuries to others occurring on the property. It includes coverage for bodily injuries caused by the insured's negligence. Medical payments might also assist with expenses regardless of fault, but liability coverage is primarily responsible for legal liabilities in such cases. Question 14. Which of the following risk management techniques involves choosing not to engage in an activity to avoid exposure to risk? A. Transfer. B. Retention. C. Avoidance. D. Reduction. Correct answer: C. Avoidance. Explanation: risk avoidance is a risk management technique in which individuals or businesses refrain from engaging in risky activities to eliminate exposure to potential loss. Transfer involves shifting risk to another party, such as through insurance, while retention means accepting the risk. Reduction involves mitigating risk without completely avoiding it. Question 15. In a Montana commercial package poly, CPP, which of the following statements is true about the building and personal property coverage form? A. It covers buildings, personal property, and outdoor signs with no additional endorsement. B. It excludes outdoor signs but covers personal property within 100 feet of the premises. C. It only covers the building itself, with personal property coverage as an optional add-on. D. It requires a separate policy for personal property coverage. Correct answer: B. It excludes outdoor signs but covers personal property within 100 feet of the premises. Explanation: the building and personal property coverage form under a CP provides coverage for buildings and personal property on the insured's premises. It generally excludes outdoor signs unless an endorsement is added, but personal property within a specified distance, typically 100 feet, is covered. This form is structured to give extensive on-site coverage with limited external elements covered. Question 16. Which of the following best defines strict liability in Montana casualty insurance? A. It holds individuals accountable only when intentional harm can be proven. B. It applies to cases where negligence must be established beyond a reasonable doubt. C. It holds an individual or entity liable without proven fault, particularly in inherently dangerous activities. D. It limits liability to damages related to the insured's premises only. Correct answer: C. It holds an individual or entity liable without proven fault, particularly in inherently dangerous activities. Explanation: strict liability is a legal concept in liability insurance where an individual or business can be held responsible for damages without needing to prove negligence, typically in cases involving inherently dangerous activities. This doctrine is designed to protect the public by assigning liability to those who conduct high-risk operations. Options A, B, and D do not accurately reflect the doctrine of strict liability. Question 17. Which endorsement would be appropriate in Montana if an insured wants additional coverage for valuable personal items like jewelry, which exceed typical policy limits? A. Replacement cost endorsement. B. Inflation guard endorsement. C. Scheduled personal property endorsement. D. Actual cash value endorsement. Correct answer: C. Scheduled personal property endorsement. Explanation: the scheduled personal property endorsement allows policyholders to list and insure high-value items individually for their appraised value. This endorsement provides extra coverage for items exceeding the standard coverage limits of a policy. Options A and D refer to valuation methods, while inflation guard pertains to general policy limits and is not designed for specific valuable items. Question 18. In a Montana commercial auto policy, which coverage would apply if an employee causes damage to another vehicle while driving a company car during work hours? A. Physical damage coverage. B. Hired auto and non-owned auto liability. C. Collision coverage. D. Liability coverage. Correct answer: D. Liability coverage. Explanation: Liability coverage in a commercial auto policy is intended to cover damages the insured is legally obligated to pay due to bodily injury or property damage caused by employees during business operations. Collision coverage addresses damage to the insured vehicle, and hired-and-owned coverage applies in cases involving vehicles not owned by the company. Question 19. Under Montana's workers' compensation requirements, which of the following is not typically covered? A. Medical expenses related to a workplace injury. B. Disability benefits for temporary partial disability. C. Wage replacement for non-work-related injuries. D. Rehabilitation services for work-related injuries. Correct answer. C. Wage replacement for non-work-related injuries. Explanation. Workers' compensation is designed to provide benefits for injuries and illnesses related to employment. Non-work-related injuries are excluded from coverage under workers' compensation. Medical, disability, and rehabilitation expenses are all typically covered if the injury is work-related. Question 20. In Montana, when would a commercial property policy's business income coverage apply? A. When the insured has a decrease in market share but no physical loss. B. When a covered peril causes physical damage that leads to business interruption. C. When the insured voluntarily closes the business for renovations. D. When a competitor's business activities result in decreased sales. Correct answer. B. When a covered peril causes physical damage that leads to business interruption. Explanation. Business income coverage is designed to protect against lost income and operating expenses when a covered peril results in property damage and business interruption. Coverage typically applies only when the interruption is directly caused by physical loss or damage, not for voluntary closures, competitive losses, or market shifts. Question 21. An insured in Montana files a claim for water damage due to a burst pipe in their home. Which homeowner's policy coverage is likely to cover this damage? A. Coverage. Dwelling. B. Coverage B. Other structures. C. Coverage C. Personal property. D. Coverage D. Loss of use. Correct answer. A. Coverage. Dwelling. Explanation. Coverage. Dwelling covers damages to the physical structure of the insured's home. If a burst pipe causes damage to the interior structure, coverage applies. Coverage C would apply if personal belongings were damaged, and coverage D covers additional living expenses if the home becomes uninhabitable. Question 22. In Montana, a business owner wants to insure their new inventory warehouse and seeks coverage for unforeseen losses like floods and earthquakes. Which policy or endorsement should they consider? A. Standard business owner's policy, BOP. B. Inland marine coverage. C. Earthquake and flood endorsement. D. Commercial general liability, CGL. Correct answer. C. Earthquake and flood endorsement. Explanation. Standard property insurance policies, including a BOP, generally exclude floods and earthquakes. An earthquake and flood endorsement specifically adds coverage for these perils. Inland marine covers movable property, and CGL addresses liability, not property loss. Question 23. Which of the following would not be considered a covered weather structure under coverage B in a Montana homeowner's policy? A. Detached garage. B. Swimming pool. C. Attached deck. D. Fence. Question 24. In Montana, medical payments coverage in an auto policy will cover which of the following expenses? A. Lost wages due to injury. B. Hospital bills for injuries to the insured's passengers. C. Vehicle repairs for the at-fault driver. D. Legal defense costs in a liability claim. Correct answer. B. Hospital bills for injuries to the insured's passengers. Explanation. Medical payments coverage provides coverage for medical expenses for the insured and passengers, regardless of fault, for injuries sustained in an accident. It does not cover lost wages, vehicle repairs, or legal defense costs. Question 25. A business in Montana experiences a fire that damages both the property and interrupts operations. Which commercial property coverage would cover the lost income during repairs? A. Business personal property coverage. B. Business income coverage. C. Extra expense coverage. D. Debris removal coverage. Correct answer. B. Business income coverage. Explanation. Business income coverage is designed to cover lost income when a business cannot operate due to covered loss such as a fire. Extra expense coverage covers costs incurred to minimize business interruption, while debris removal and business personal property coverage focus on physical cleanup and property, respectively. Question 26. Which type of liability coverage is best suited for a Montana business with exposure to high financial damages but wants to limit out-of-pocket costs? A. Umbrella policy. B. Professional liability insurance. C. Product liability coverage. D. Workers' compensation insurance. Correct answer. A. Umbrella policy. Explanation. An umbrella policy provides excess liability coverage that kicks in when primary policy limits are exhausted. It's ideal for businesses with high exposure as it protects against significant financial liabilities that might exceed base policy limits. Question 27. A Montana homeowner's personal liability coverage would apply in which of the following situations? A. Damage to the homeowner's own residence. B. Injury to a guest who trips over a toy in the homeowner's yard. C. Theft of the homeowner's vehicle. D. Damage to a tree during a storm. Correct answer. B. Injury to a guest who trips over a toy in the homeowner's yard. Explanation. Personal liability coverage protects the insured from claims of bodily injury or property damage caused to others due to negligence. This would include injuries to a guest. It does not cover property damage to the insured's own residence, vehicle theft, or storm damage. Question 28. In Montana, an insurer may deny a claim for intentional damage caused by the insured. This falls under which principle? A. Principle of indemnity. B. Principle of utmost good faith. C. Principle of insurable interest. D. Principle of moral hazard. Correct answer. D. Principle of moral hazard. Explanation. The principle of moral hazard addresses the risk of an insured engaging in risky or intentional behavior because they have coverage. Insurers typically exclude coverage for intentional damage to prevent insureds from deliberately causing losses for financial gain. Question 29. Which of the following statements is true about property coinsurance requirements in Montana? A. Coinsurance requirements do not apply to personal property. B. Meeting the coinsurance requirement results in a lower deductible. C. Failure to meet coinsurance results in a reduced claim payout. D. Coinsurance applies only to liability claims. Correct answer. C. Failure to meet coinsurance results in a reduced claim payout. Explanation. The coinsurance clause requires policyholders to carry a specified percentage of insurance relative to property value. If the coinsurance requirement is unmet, the insurer reduces the claim payout proportionally. It applies to both real and personal property. Question 30. In Montana, uninsured motorist coverage in an auto policy is designed to cover A. Damages to the insured's vehicle caused by weather. B. Bodily injury caused by a driver who has insufficient insurance. C. Bodily injury caused by a hit-and-run driver. D. Property damage when the insured is at fault. Correct answer. C. Bodily injury caused by a hit-and-run driver. Explanation. Uninsured motorist coverage provides coverage for bodily injury if the insured is involved in an accident with a driver who is uninsured, underinsured, or flees the scene hit-and-run. It does not cover weather-related damages where the insured is at fault, or property damage without additional coverage. Question 31. In Montana, which homeowner's policy form would be best suited for a tenant renting an apartment? A. HA2. B. HA3. C. HA4. D. HA6. Correct answer. C. HA4. Explanation. HA4, also known as a renter's insurance policy, is specifically designed for tenants. It covers personal property and liability but not the structure, which is covered by the landlord's policy. HA2 and HA3 are for homeowners, and HA6 is for condo owners. Question 32. A Montana residence auto policy includes collision coverage. Which of the following scenarios would not be covered by this policy? A. Damage from hitting a deer. B. Damage from a single car accident. C. Damage from backing into a pole. D. Damage from overturning the vehicle. Correct answer: A. Damage from hitting a deer. Explanation: collision coverage applies to vehicle damage resulting from a collision with another object or vehicle, or from overturning. Hitting a deer is typically covered under comprehensive coverage, which includes animal collisions. Question 33. Under Montana law, which of the following perils is usually excluded from a basic homeowner's insurance policy? A. Fire. B. Hail. C. Flood. D. Vandalism. Correct answer: C. Flood. Explanation: floods are generally excluded from standard homeowners insurance policies and require separate flood insurance. Perils such as fire, hail, and vandalism are usually covered under basic policies. Question 34. In Montana, if an insured has replacement cost coverage on their property, how will loss typically be paid? A. Based on the market value of the property. B. Depreciated value of the damaged property. C. Full cost to replace the damaged property without depreciation. D. Adjusted to the nearest policy deductible. Correct answer: C. Full cost to replace the damaged property without depreciation. Explanation: replacement cost coverage provides the amount necessary to replace the damaged property without considering depreciation. This is beneficial for insureds as it covers the full cost of replacement, unlike actual cash value, which factors in depreciation. Question 35. A Montana business with an auto insurance policy has hired auto liability coverage. This coverage applies in which situation? A. Employees driving personal cars for business errands. B. A company-owned vehicle used for deliveries. C. Rented vehicles used for company travel. D. Damage to the business's own fleet vehicles. Correct answer: C. Rented vehicles used for company travel. Explanation: hired auto liability coverage protects a business against liabilities arising from accidents involving vehicles it rents or hires for business purposes. It doesn't apply to employees' personal vehicles, which would need non-owned auto liability, or the company's own vehicles. Question 36. In Montana, uninsured motorist coverage would protect the insured from A. Damage to their vehicle from a collision with a building. B. Injury from an at-fault driver without insurance. C. Property damage caused by a natural disaster. D. Bodily injury from an accident caused by the insured. Correct answer: B. Injury from an at-fault driver without insurance. Explanation: uninsured motorist coverage provides compensation for injuries to the insured when involved in an accident with a driver who has no insurance. It does not cover damage to the insured's vehicle. That would be collision or comprehensive or accidents caused by the insured. Question 37. A Montana policyholder wants to add coverage for jewelry beyond their homeowner's policy limits. Which of the following endorsements should they consider? A. Scheduled personal property endorsement. B. Personal injury endorsement. C. Inflation guard endorsement. D. Extended replacement cost endorsement. Correct answer: A. Scheduled personal property endorsement. Explanation: a scheduled personal property endorsement allows policyholders to insure high-value items such as jewelry for a specific amount. This provides broader protection than the standard policy limits. Other endorsements don't specifically cover individual valuable items. Question 38. In Montana, business income insurance typically covers which of the following? A. Inventory losses from theft. B. Lost income due to a fire that temporarily halts operations. C. Employee injuries during work. D. Damage to company vehicles. Correct answer: B. Lost income due to fire that temporarily halts operations. Explanation: business income insurance covers lost income and continuing expenses if the business cannot operate due to a covered loss such as a fire. It does not cover physical inventory losses, covered by property insurance, or employee injuries, covered by workers' compensation. Question 39. Which of the following liability coverages is generally not included in a standard commercial general liability CGL policy in Montana? A. Premises liability. B. Advertising injury liability. C. Product liability. D. Professional liability. Correct answer. D. Professional liability. Explanation. Professional liability is typically excluded from standard CGL policies and requires a separate professional liability policy. CGL generally covers premises liability, product liability, and advertising injury, but not claims arising from professional services or advice. Question 40. A Montana homeowner's personal liability insurance would cover A. Property damage to the homeowner's own property, B. Damage caused by the homeowner's pet to a neighbor's property, C. The cost to replace the homeowner's personal property, D. Injuries to the homeowner in their own residence. Correct answer. B. Damage caused by the homeowner's pet to a neighbor's property. Explanation. Personal liability insurance covers damages caused by the insured or their pet to others' property or injuries to others due to negligence. It doesn't cover the insured's own property, belongings, or injuries to the insured themselves. Question 41. Which of the following is typically excluded from coverage under a Montana commercial property policy? A. Fire damage to business inventory, B. Damage from a sewer backup, C. Windstorm damage to business property, D. Vandalism damage to business premises. Correct answer. B. Damage from a sewer backup. Explanation. Commercial property policies generally exclude damage caused by sewer backups, which requires a separate endorsement for coverage. Fire, windstorm, and vandalism damage are typically covered under standard commercial property policies. Question 42. In Montana, the primary purpose of liability coverage on a homeowner's policy is to A. Cover damage to the homeowner's own property, B. Pay for legal defense and damages if the homeowner is liable for injury to others, C. Pay for repairs to appliances in the home, D. Cover the cost of rebuilding the home. Correct answer. B. Pay for legal defense and damages if the homeowner is liable for injury to others. Explanation. Liability coverage in a homeowner's policy protects against claims and lawsuits for bodily injury or property damage the homeowner causes to others. It includes legal defense costs, which can be significant in liability cases. Question 43. Which endorsement should a Montana homeowner consider if they want guaranteed replacement cost coverage on their property? A. Scheduled personal property, B. Inflation guard, C. Replacement cost on contents, D. Extended replacement cost. Correct answer. D. Extended replacement cost. Explanation. The extended replacement cost endorsement provides additional coverage above the policy limit to cover the increased cost of rebuilding the home, often due to unexpected increases in construction costs. Scheduled personal property and inflation guard endorsements do not provide this level of property coverage. Question 44. In Montana, an umbrella policy is primarily designed to A. Replace a standard homeowner's policy, B. Provide additional liability coverage beyond the limits of existing policies, C. Insure high-value personal items, D. Cover routine maintenance costs. Correct answer. B. Provide additional liability coverage beyond the limits of existing policies. Explanation. An umbrella policy offers extra liability protection beyond the limits of standard home or auto policies. It's beneficial for covering substantial claims or lawsuits that exceed the primary policy's liability limits, providing peace of mind for high-cost incidents. Question 45. Which type of insurance would be most appropriate for a Montana business concerned with cyber risks such as data breaches? A. Commercial general liability, B. Directors and officers liability, C. Professional liability, D. Cyber liability. Correct answer. D. Cyber liability. Explanation. Cyber liability insurance covers losses related to cyber incidents, including data breaches and cyber attacks. Other policies, such as commercial general liability, do not cover these risks, which are increasingly important for businesses with digital data. Question 46. Montana's no-fault auto insurance laws do not apply, meaning A. Drivers must carry personal injury protection, PIP. B. Liability must be proven for accident claims. C. Insurance pays for each driver's own injuries regardless of fault. D. Montana requires only uninsured motorist coverage. Correct answer. B. Liability must be proven for accident claims. Explanation. Montana is an at-fault state for auto insurance, which means that the driver found at fault for an accident is responsible for the other party's damages. This differs from no-fault states, where each party's insurance pays for their own injuries. Question 47. Under a typical Montana business owner's policy, BOP, which of the following is usually excluded? A. Business property coverage. B. Liability for customer injuries. C. Professional services liability. D. Business interruption coverage. Correct answer. C. Professional services liability. Explanation. A business owner's policy, BOP, combines property and liability coverages but generally excludes liability from professional services. This requires a separate professional liability policy to cover risks specific to the business's services. Question 48. Which of the following events is likely to be covered under Montana's standard auto insurance policy's comprehensive coverage? A. Collision with another vehicle. B. Fire damage to the vehicle. C. Overturning the vehicle on a sharp turn. D. Damage to another vehicle when backing up. Correct answer. B. Fire damage to the vehicle. Explanation. Comprehensive coverage typically protects against non-collision events like fire, theft, vandalism, and natural disasters. Collisions and overturns fall under collision coverage, while damage to another vehicle involves liability coverage. Question 49. In Montana, if a commercial property policy has a coinsurance clause of 80%, how much of a $100,000 loss would the policy pay if the insured only carried $60,000 in coverage? A. $60,000. B. $80,000. C. $75,000. D. $50,000. Correct answer. D. $50,000. Explanation. The coinsurance clause requires the insured to carry a specified percentage, in this case 80% of the property value, to receive full coverage. Since only $60,000 was insured rather than the required $80,000, a penalty applies, and the insurer only pays $50,000. Question 50. In Montana, a workers' compensation policy provides all of the following benefits except A. Coverage for medical expenses. B. Income replacement during disability. C. Liability for injuries caused to a third party. D. Vocational rehabilitation. Correct answer. C. Liability for injuries caused to a third party. Explanation. Workers' compensation covers employees' injuries or illnesses due to their job. It includes medical expenses, income replacement, and vocational rehabilitation, but does not cover liability for injuries to third parties, which would require a separate liability policy. Question 51. Under Montana's personal auto policy, which of the following types of vehicles is typically excluded from coverage? A. Private passenger vehicles. B. Motorcycles. C. Rental cars. D. Farm-use trucks. Correct answer. B. Motorcycles. Explanation. A standard personal auto policy usually excludes coverage for motorcycles. Separate motorcycle insurance is required to cover liabilities and damages related to motorcycle use. Question 52. A Montana homeowner's policy deductible applies to which of the following? A. Liability claims for injuries. B. Medical payments to others. C. Damage to the homeowner's own property. D. Theft of a neighbor's property. Correct answer. C. Damage to the homeowner's own property. Explanation. The deductible in a homeowner's policy typically applies to property damage claims, meaning the homeowner pays a set amount out of pocket before the insurance covers the rest. Liability and medical payment coverages generally do not require a deductible. Question 53. In Montana, replacement cost coverage for a property insurance policy means A. Coverage is based on the current market value of the property. B. The policy pays the cost to replace damaged property with like kind and quality. C. The insured receives the initial purchase price of the property. D. Payment is based on the depreciated value of the property. Correct answer. B. The policy pays the cost to replace damaged property with like kind and quality. Explanation. Replacement cost coverage reimburses the cost to replace or repair damaged property with similar quality materials, without deducting for depreciation. It contrasts with actual cash value, which considers depreciation. Question 54. In Montana, if a homeowner rents out a portion of their home, which of the following coverages might they need to add? A. Replacement cost coverage. B. Loss of use coverage. C. Personal liability umbrella. D. Landlord's liability coverage. Correct answer. D. Landlord's liability coverage. Explanation. Renting out a part of the home changes the risk profile, and landlord's liability coverage helps protect against potential liability claims from tenants. Standard homeowners policies may not cover tenant-related liability without this endorsement. Question 55. Under Montana law, a certificate of insurance provides a proof of the policy's existence and key details. B. A substitute for the insurance policy itself. C. A guarantee of coverage payment. D. Coverage for an uninsured individual. Correct answer. A proof of the policy's existence and key details. Explanation. A certificate of insurance is a document that verifies the existence of an insurance policy and provides an overview of the coverage but does not serve as a policy or a guarantee of payment. Question 56. Which of the following is typically covered by a Montana commercial general liability policy? A. Damage to the insured's own property. B. Injuries to employees. C. Advertising injuries to a third party. D. Personal property of employees. Correct answer. C. Advertising injuries to a third party. Explanation. Commercial general liability (CGL) policies cover third-party claims, including advertising injuries like defamation or copyright infringement. They do not cover damage to the insured's own property or employee injuries, which require other types of coverage. Question 57. A Montana homeowner's policy with loss of use coverage would pay for A. Medical payments to others. B. Repair costs for the home. C. Temporary living expenses if the home is uninhabitable due to a covered loss. D. Liability claims if someone is injured on the property. Correct answer. C. Temporary living expenses if the home is uninhabitable due to a covered loss. Explanation. Loss of use coverage reimburses additional living expenses when a policyholder's home becomes uninhabitable due to covered loss such as fire or storm damage, ensuring the homeowner can cover temporary accommodations. Question 58. Which of the following is excluded from coverage under a typical Montana business auto policy? A. Liability for injuries caused by an employee driving a company car. B. Collision damage to a company-owned vehicle. C. Bodily injury caused by an uninsured motorist. D. Damage to goods being transported. Correct answer. D. Damage to goods being transported. Explanation. Standard business auto policies do not cover damage to goods being transported. The separate cargo insurance is needed for this. Liability, collision, and uninsured motorist coverage are typically included for vehicles and drivers. Question 59. Under Montana law, a commercial property policy with a coinsurance clause requires the insured to A. Insure the property at 100% of its market value. B. Pay a higher premium for full coverage. C. Insure a specified percentage of the property value to avoid a penalty. D. Cover liability claims only for property damage. Correct answer. C. Insure a specified percentage of the property value to avoid a penalty. Explanation. A coinsurance clause in a commercial property policy stipulates that the insured must maintain coverage for a minimum percentage of the property's value, e.g., 80%. Failure to meet this percentage can result in a penalty on any claims. Question 60. In Montana, underinsured motorist coverage in an auto insurance policy is designed to A. Cover property damage caused by the policyholder. B. Pay medical expenses when the other driver's insurance is insufficient. C. Replace a damaged vehicle at replacement cost. D. Cover damages from weather-related incidents. Correct answer. B. pay medical expenses when the other driver's insurance is insufficient. Explanation. Underinsured motorist coverage provides additional payment if the at-fault driver's insurance coverage limits are too low to cover the policyholder's injury-related expenses. It supplements the coverage provided by the other driver's insurance. Question 61. In Montana, a liability umbrella policy primarily serves to A. Replace the primary insurance policy in case of a claim. B. Provide additional liability coverage above existing policy limits. C. Cover losses due to natural disasters. D. Cover only medical payments to others. Correct answer. B. Provide additional liability coverage above existing policy limits. Explanation. An umbrella policy offers additional liability protection beyond the limits of primary insurance policies such as auto or homeowners insurance, covering large claims that exceed the standard policy's limits. Question 62. Under Montana law, if a homeowner's insurance policy is canceled due to non-payment, the insurer must A. Provide a 10-day written notice to the policyholder. B. Refund the entire premium to the policyholder. C. Allow a 30-day grace period before cancellation. D. Automatically reinstate the policy if payment is made within 60 days. Correct answer. A. Provide a 10-day written notice to the policyholder. Explanation. In Montana, insurers must give a minimum 10-day written notice of cancellation due to non-payment, allowing the policyholder time to pay the premium before the policy is canceled. Question 63. Which of the following is typically covered under Montana's dwelling policy fire coverage? A. Theft of personal property. B. Water damage from flooding. C. Damage from fire and lightning. D. Liability for personal injuries. Correct answer. C. Damage from fire and lightning. Explanation. A dwelling policy with fire coverage generally insures the dwelling structure against perils like fire and lightning, but does not cover theft, flood damage, or personal liability without additional endorsements. Question 64. In Montana, which of the following would be excluded from coverage under a homeowner's policy? A. Damage due to a burst pipe. B. Wind damage to roof. C. Earthquake damage to the structure. D. Theft of personal property from within the home. Correct answer. C. Earthquake damage to the structure. Explanation. Standard homeowners policies usually exclude earthquake damage. Coverage for earthquakes requires a separate endorsement or policy, as this is considered a high-risk natural disaster. Question 65. A Montana personal articles floater policy is designed to cover A. Losses to all household items. B. Personal liability claims. C. Scheduled items of high value like jewelry or art. D. Damage to the structure of the insured's home. Correct answer. C. Scheduled items of high value like jewelry or art. Explanation. A personal articles floater provides coverage for high-value items that may exceed the limits of a standard homeowner's policy. It typically covers loss or damage to valuables such as jewelry, artwork, and collectibles. Question 66. Which of the following is an insured's duty after a loss under a Montana homeowner's policy? A. Refusing to allow the insurer to inspect the property. B. Making repairs before notifying the insurer. C. Submitting a proof of loss form within a specified time. D. Ignoring the claim if it's a small amount. Correct answer. C. Submitting a proof of loss form within a specified time. Explanation. After a loss, the insured is responsible for notifying the insurer, preventing further damage, and submitting a proof of loss form to facilitate the claim process as outlined in their policy terms. Question 67. Montana's auto insurance policies require which type of coverage? By law, A. Comprehensive coverage. B. Uninsured motorist coverage. C. Liability coverage for bodily injury and property damage. D. Collision coverage. Correct answer. C. Liability coverage for bodily injury and property damage. Explanation. Montana law mandates liability coverage to protect against bodily injury and property damage claims from at-fault accidents, but comprehensive and collision coverage are optional. Question 68. A Montana business owner's policy, BOP, typically includes coverage for A. The owner's personal residence, B. Business property and liability, C. Employee injury compensation, D. Damage to other businesses' property. Correct answer, B. Business property and liability. Explanation. A BOP is designed to cover business property and liability risks such as damage to the business premises and claims against the business for third-party bodily injury or property damage. It does not cover personal residences or employee injuries. Question 69. Under Montana law, workers' compensation insurance provides benefits for A. Injuries suffered by customers on the business premises, B. Employee injuries or illnesses arising from job-related activities, C. Damage to business vehicles used by employees, D. Business-related property losses. Correct answer, B. Employee injuries or illnesses arising from job-related activities. Explanation. Workers' compensation covers medical expenses, lost wages, and rehabilitation for employees who are injured or fall ill due to their job duties. It does not cover customer injuries or property damage. Question 70. In Montana, underinsured motorist coverage is designed to A. Replace a totaled vehicle with a new model, B. Cover costs that exceed the at-fault driver's insurance limits, C. Pay for damages to the policyholder's property, D. Cover injury expenses for any passenger in the at-fault vehicle. Correct answer, B. Cover costs that exceed the at-fault driver's insurance limits. Explanation. Underinsured motorist coverage helps to pay the policyholder's costs if the at-fault driver lacks sufficient insurance to cover injury-related expenses, bridging the gap when the at-fault party's coverage is insufficient. Question 71. In Montana, if an insured's homeowner's policy is non-renewed by the insurer is required to provide a minimum 10-day notice. B. Offer an alternative policy option. C. Give the insured at least 45 days written notice. D. Automatically reinstate the policy for one more term. Correct answer, C. Give the insured at least 45 days written notice. Explanation. Montana law mandates that insurers provide a 45-day written notice for non-renewal of a homeowner's policy, allowing the insured time to seek alternative coverage. Question 72. In Montana, flood insurance is typically A. Included in standard homeowners policies, B. Only available through private insurance carriers, C. Covered by the National Flood Insurance Program, NFIP, D. Required for all homes in the state. Correct answer, C. Covered by the National Flood Insurance Program, NFIP. Explanation. Standard homeowners policies do not cover flood damage. Flood insurance is typically provided through the NFIP, a federal program designed to help protect homeowners in flood-prone areas. Question 73. In a Montana personal auto policy, PAP collision coverage would typically pay for A. Damage from hitting a deer, B. Damage to the insured vehicle from an accident with another vehicle, C. Damage to personal items inside the vehicle, D. Liability for injuries to others. Correct answer, B. Damage to the insured vehicle from an accident with another vehicle. Explanation. Collision coverage helps pay for damage to the insured's vehicle resulting from a collision with another vehicle or object, while animal-related incidents may be covered under comprehensive coverage. Question 74. Which of the following would generally be excluded from coverage under a Montana homeowner's policy? A. Fire damage to the insured's home, B. Theft of valuables within the home, C. Mold damage due to poor maintenance, D. Water damage from a burst pipe. Correct answer, C. Mold damage due to poor maintenance. Explanation. Most homeowners' policies exclude mold damage that results from poor maintenance or negligence. However, sudden and accidental water damage, e.g., from a burst pipe, is often covered. Question 75. In Montana, medical payments coverage in a homeowner's policy is designed to cover A. Medical expenses for the insured family members only, B. Medical bills for guests injured on the insured's property, C. Hospital bills due to car accidents, D. Surgery costs for the insured's pets. Correct answer. B. Medical bills for guests injured on the insured's property. Explanation. Medical payments coverage pays for minor medical expenses for guests injured on the insured's property, regardless of fault, but it does not cover the insured's family members or car accident-related injuries. Question 76. Montana requires all drivers to carry which minimum level of liability insurance for bodily injury per person? A. $10,000, B. $25,000, C. $50,000, D. $100,000. Correct answer. B. $25,000. Explanation. Montana's minimum liability coverage requirements include $25,000 for bodily injury per person in a motor vehicle accident to ensure coverage for potential injuries to other parties. Question 77. Under Montana homeowners policy, loss of use coverage typically provides reimbursement for A. Lost wages due to illness, B. Expenses if the home becomes uninhabitable after a covered loss, C. Replacement costs for stolen items, D. Liability claims against the homeowner. Correct answer. B. Expenses if the home becomes uninhabitable after a covered loss. Explanation. Loss of use coverage helps cover additional living expenses. E.g. hotel stays if the insured's home is uninhabitable due to a covered peril like fire. Question 78. In Montana, uninsured motorist coverage protects the insured if A. They cause an accident, B. They are hit by a driver with no insurance, C. They need coverage for damage to their own vehicle, D. They experience the breakdown on the road. Correct answer. B. They are hit by a driver with no insurance. Explanation. Uninsured motorist coverage provides protection if the insured is injured by a driver who lacks liability insurance, helping cover medical expenses and other losses. Question 79. Which of the following is an optional coverage under a standard Montana homeowners policy? A. Liability coverage, B. Dwelling coverage, C. Earthquake coverage, D. Personal property coverage. Correct answer. C. Earthquake coverage. Explanation. Earthquake coverage is not included in standard homeowners policies and requires a separate endorsement or policy. It provides protection against damage caused by earthquakes. Question 80. A Montana business auto policy includes coverage for physical damage to vehicles in which of the following situations? A. Vandalism, B. Accidental damage to other vehicles, C. Damage to employee personal vehicles, D. Injury to the business owner. Correct answer. A. Vandalism. Explanation. Physical damage coverage in a business auto policy can include protection against perils like vandalism, which is part of comprehensive coverage. This does not extend to damage or injuries involving other vehicles or personal injuries. Question 81. In Montana, underinsured motorist coverage provides protection when A. The insured damages their own vehicle in an accident, B. Another driver has insurance, but not enough to cover the insured's injuries, C. The insured is driving a rented vehicle, D. The insured has no liability insurance. Correct answer. B. Another driver has insurance, but not enough to cover the insured's injuries. Explanation. Underinsured motorist coverage helps cover medical expenses if the at-fault driver's insurance limits are insufficient to fully cover the insured's injuries. It fills in the gap when the other driver has some coverage, but not enough. Question 82. In Montana, business income coverage under a commercial property policy generally covers A. The value of lost or stolen merchandise, B. Income loss if a covered peril forces business operations to stop temporarily, C. Physical damages to business structures, D. Employee theft. Correct answer. B. Income loss if a covered peril forces business operations to stop temporarily. Explanation. Business income coverage is designed to reimburse the policyholder for lost income if operations are halted due to a covered loss, helping to sustain the business until it can reopen. Question 83. Which of the following perils is generally covered under a standard Montana homeowner's policy? A. Flood. B. Earthquake. C. Windstorm. D. War. Correct answer. C. Windstorm. Explanation. A standard homeowner's policy typically covers windstorm damage, but it does not cover flood or earthquake damage. Separate policies or endorsements are usually required for flood and earthquake coverage. Question 84. In Montana, an insurance binder serves as A. A permanent contract for long-term insurance coverage. B. A temporary agreement that provides immediate coverage until a formal policy is issued. C. A document that cancels a policy. D. Proof that an insurance claim has been filed. Correct answer. B. A temporary agreement that provides immediate coverage until a formal policy is issued. Explanation. An insurance binder is a temporary document that provides immediate coverage and serves as proof of insurance until the formal policy is underwritten and issued. Question 85. Montana law requires insurance companies to provide fair claims settlement practices by A. Paying all claims immediately upon notification. B. Adopting and following procedures to ensure timely and fair claim handling. C. Only paying claims after 6 months of investigation. D. Allowing claims adjusters to determine claims without any oversight. Correct answer. B. Adopting and following procedures to ensure timely and fair claim handling. Explanation. Fair claims settlement practices require insurers to process and handle claims in a timely and fair manner, avoiding unnecessary delays or unfair practices that could harm the insured. Question 86. In a Montana commercial general liability CGL policy, the product's completed operations coverage would protect the insured if A. An employee is injured while working. B. A product the insured sold causes injury or damage after sale. C. The insured's vehicle causes property damage. D. The insured fails to complete a service. Correct answer. B. A product the insured sold causes injury or damage after sale. Explanation. Products completed operations coverage protects against claims of injury or damage caused by products or completed work after the sale or service is completed. Question 87. A Montana claims-made liability policy differs from an occurrence policy because it A. Covers claims made during a specific policy period regardless of when the event happened. B. Covers claims only if they occur in the policy period regardless of when they're reported. C. Excludes any bodily injury claims. D. Provides only limited coverage for property damage. Correct answer. A. Covers claims made during a specific policy period regardless of when the event happened. Explanation. A claims-made policy covers claims that are reported during the policy period even if the incident occurred before the policy began, as long as it's within the retroactive day. Question 88. Under Montana insurance regulations, subrogation is the process where A. The insurer sues the insured for negligence. B. The insurer collects a deductible from the insurer. C. The insurer seeks to recover costs from a third party after paying a claim to the insured. D. The insured cancels their policy. Correct answer. C. The insurer seeks to recover costs from a third party after paying a claim to the insured. Explanation. Subrogation allows an insurer to pursue recovery from a third party responsible for causing a loss after the insurer has paid the insured's claim to reduce overall claims costs. Question 89. If a Montana homeowner fails to inform their insurer of a material change in risk such as installing a swimming pool, the insurer may A. Increase the policy premium retroactively. B. Deny any claims related to the new risk. C. Cancel the policy immediately without notice. D. Provide additional coverage at no cost. Correct answer. B. Deny any claims related to the new risk. Explanation. If a material change in risk occurs, such as installing a pool, the insurer must be informed. Failure to notify can result in the insurer denying claims associated with that risk as the risk exposure has changed. Question 90. Montana's statute of limitations for filing an insurance claim for property damage under a homeowner's policy is generally A. 1 year from the date of loss. B. 2 years from the date of loss. C. 3 years from the date of loss. D. 5 years from the date of loss. Correct answer. C. 3 years from the date of loss. Explanation. Montana generally allows 3 years from the date of loss for property damage claims under a homeowner's policy. Filing within this period ensures the claim can be properly processed and evaluated.